Finally, I see the email, my first sponsorship. This is it. I thought I'm gonna brag to my family. I've made it, I'm a hero. All those years of looking like a dropkick finally pay off. But then I looked at the fine print and realized what a bad offer this was. And at the end of this video, I'm actually gonna show you that offer. It's actually gonna cost me money to promote these guys. But today isn't about me, and nor am I gonna be using this email as a basis to forewarn you about sponsorships. I've got something to show you. I promise you, if you follow these 3 tips as a creator, you're gonna make way more money in your business than by going with sponsors. So I've applied all these 3 tips with my clients, but it's just not my clients too. You're gonna see all the pro business owners that are on YouTube also following these 3 steps. And these 3 steps is how I've helped my clients make over $15 million with email. How am I gonna do that? Well, it all breaks down to this one acronym. If you're okay with anything, know this acronym. It's LTV, Customer Lifetime Value. But there's no C involved, so it's just lifetime value. And this is the average lifespan that a customer spends with you. Like a dentist, for example, a patient they look after for many, many years, it's gonna be worth around $25,000 for them. Whereas some new AI pop-up software that's brand new, has got crappy customer support, might only have an LTV of around $50 per customer. Now, why the hell am I bringing up LTV and how the heck does it actually make you more money as a creator versus sponsorships? Let me break it down like this. Let's say a company pays a creator who has an audience of around 100,000 people, and they pay him $5,000, and 10,000 people go to that page, buy the product, give that other company all their contact information, and of course, they're gonna sell them and then in the future, resell them again because they're buyers. The LTV or lifetime value per person that they know is so much more desirable than the 5,000 puny dollars that they've just sent this poor creator. Like, it's actually a joke how valuable these 10,000 people are who've handed them money, because this company knows over the lifetime value, that $5,000 investment is gonna be worth so much more. But here's the thing, most companies know their numbers inside out, and that's why they do this. Most creators, unfortunately, they're a bit like me, a little bit disorganized and don't know their numbers. So when they see an offer like 5 grand, hey, why wouldn't I send people there? That sounds like a good deal. Whereas if you look at the smart business owners, the ones who are also creating content, they're regularly saying no to paid promotions. And I'll explain why. Their goal is to build a world around themselves. And when you get people fixated on you and you don't send them on tangents or down rabbit holes, and they're only fixated on you and their attention is with you, guess where they're spending their money? With you. Over the long term, this is a substantial amount of money, especially if you keep the buyers to yourself and not to some other random company. That's the key thing here. When you go promote, you're sending them buyers and you want the buyers' attention with you. And I totally understand most creators aren't taught how to monetize their audience, let alone how to lengthen that LTV value. So it seems like, hey, if I could just take 5 grand here, you know, that's not such a bad thing. But now that you're here, if you're a client of mine, these are the things we would do to triple your LTV. And on top of that, you would never need to jump through the compliance of paid promotion. You wouldn't need to bend the knee to some crappy product. Like, it'd just be all for yourself. You'd be feeling good. Everything would be in integrity. And there's 3 steps in chronological order to triple your LTV. First one, you need a paid offer. Second one, you need to send them fun emails frequently, not just boring emails. Then you need to ascend the buyers. So basically upsell people. These simple steps dramatically increase your LTV. So what does each step look like? Well, let's look at your offer first. So are you selling a course, or are you selling a membership, or are you selling a high ticket coaching? As a creator, someone who's bought something from you and they're on the email list is infinitely more valuable than someone who's just opted for a free PDF or something but has no intention to buy. And I've seen this again and again with clients. I've seen the clients with 2,000 people, mostly warm audience who bought a product, way outperform the lists that are built through, you know, like giveaways and other sort of stuff like that. People they're not really in it to buy stuff. Lists of 40, 50,000 people get outperformed by a list of 2,000 people who've bought and shown intention. And you might be wondering why? Well, let me break down the psychology. If you hand me money and it fixes a problem, how likely are you to come back if it happens again? Yeah, pretty good chance, right? Or you would at least hear me out if I had another offer, right? Again, like, pretty good chance you would at least listen to me if I've helped you in the past. And even though this is just the beginning of the LTV journey, you've just identified who is a buyer, and that name is yours to keep. And when you have the right skills, this is where the magic starts to happen, and you don't have to be some pushy used car salesman in the process. You can do this feeling good. You send them fun emails consistently. I want to show you how in step 2. And sending fun emails is going to make it more enjoyable for you, but also for your subscribers and buyers. Helpful tips are great and all, but at the core of it, people just want to be entertained. They want to be bored. So there's only so many times you can give them helpful tips before they go look somewhere else for a bit more entertainment. And that's why infotainment emails are one of the best ways to increase your customer LTV. So what are infotainment emails and why do we need them in order to ditch sponsorships completely? The short answer is they keep people in the loop and interested with you for an extended period of time. Whereas just the Joe Blow sending you a couple of tips every now and then, how interested are you going to be if it's just like, here's a link, here's a blog, here's how it helps you? You're probably going to get bored, rather than the person who's telling you engaging, interesting stories, stuff that's relatable. So what's the difference between someone who sends like regular tips and entertaining stories? Well, you could probably expect to see around a 2-year difference in LTV. And if I have 2 more years, that means I have more offers, more eyeballs onto this. So as you can expect, the number gets higher and higher and higher the longer you have with them. But you might be wondering then, what do infotainment emails look like? And I got stuck on this, and this is a very simple structure that my mentor showed me. It's called story, segue, sell. You tell a relevant story that then naturally segues into your premise, and then you sell. So what might be an example of a story? Well, right now I'm in Latin America learning Spanish, and I met this girl on the plane, and she's learned Spanish before in the past, but it's so rusty, she can't really string together a sentence. Like, she doesn't have the basics down pat. What happens is that we get to the airport, they lose her luggage, and I say, okay, like, hope you're okay, like, you should be fine. There's internet at the airport, but it's also pissing with rain, and there's the only way out is through a taxi. I messaged her later that night and asked, how did it go? And the kicker is that she couldn't get into the hotel because she couldn't speak Spanish. All the gates were locked. So like, pause the story here, like that's the entertaining section. Now, how do we actually then segue into the premise? Well, getting stuck into a sticky situation because you don't know the basics of something is something a lot of people can relate with. So then it makes sense to then transition into the info part of your email. I'm going to explain to people why not knowing the basics of, say, email deliverability is like walking into Latin America and not speaking a word of Spanish. You're gonna have a hard time, you're gonna really struggle getting what you want done. And don't pull me up on technicalities like, Jules, you can just use Google Translate, like, just follow up with the story. So now I said that you're going to be struggling, now you then segue into the sell. The sell could be to watch a video case study. It could be to hit the reply and ask the reader, hey, have you ever been in a sticky situation like this before as well? And you're just building a relationship with that part. So the sell is a relationship question. And I've used story, segue, sell emails in the most unlikely situation with clients that have gotten incredible results. And I'm telling you this because you might think you have all these little stories that are completely irrelevant, but they're extremely magnetic to the right people. Like for example, John, he always wanted to do magic as a kid, but his parents never let him. So he went back to a magic shop, got the exact same owner to then coach him how to do magic so he could relive his childhood dreams. Or there was Troy, who was a rebel musician, not much really going on with his life, but I found this photo with him in dreadlocks, and he's currently someone who's got like short hair and a mohawk. I kind of use this story to completely shock people this was his past. I even use stories like this to humble people, like Hamza, who had over 2 million subscribers. He was biting into a birthday cake that his family was celebrating after his first 1,000 subscribers. The whole point of me telling you this is that the more story, segue, sell emails you send to your list, the more likely they're going to stay in the loop, the more likely that they're going to see more offers, and that's going to increase their LTV. But you want to know the best way to increase LTV? Well, I learned this way after trying to figure out what is the best way to improve retention rate. How do you get someone to stick for years? And this is the answer. Well, I got this nugget from the legend Dan Kennedy, and he says the best way to improve retention is ascension. People are going to stay around longer if you upgrade them. Let me go back to that dentist example. If you've just done like a $10,000 procedure on your teeth, he's got all the files, he knows your case, he knows all the ins and outs of your mouth, how likely are you going to go to some other dentist because maybe they're more affordable or more close? Probably not, right? It's a major inconvenience. So that's why after you've gotten through your paid offer, they've gone through your story, segue, sell emails, the best strategy to improve your customer LTV is to then ascend them into a premium price offer. Then when you've got all three in place as a creator, you're gonna exactly pinpoint this magic equation. And this magic equation is going to help you give the middle finger to any person who wants to offer you a sponsorship because you know this number. So I'm going to read off my screen because there's a lot of numbers here going on here, all right? So for every 100 email subscribers, X convert into a paid offer in the first 30 days. And then those buyers convert into more premium offer over the next 90 days. And then the percentage of those buyers who then choose to buy your premium product over the next 2 years. You're gonna have these two little numbers. From there, you're gonna work out for every subscriber I get, they are worth this amount. So if you're sending 10,000 people and each person is roughly worth $100, I have to quickly do the maths here. I'm not that good in my head. Okay, so 10,000 times 100. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's $1 million you're basically giving away right there. So do you see with this information, the pros who work on YouTube as a business owner, they never push to Amazon affiliate links. They never push people to Skillshare. They don't push to anything else other than their email list. That is the secret. The email list is what kickstarts phase 3. The email list is what kickstarts this 3-phase journey that we've just covered today. Reality is with paid sponsorships, you really miss out on this magic. Oh, and by the way, here's an email that I got from this company if you're wondering what it was like. It was abysmal. They wanted free airtime on my podcast in exchange for a 60% off coupon. So you might be, what are some samples or examples of emails that get people to stick around for the long term? Like, how do you stand out from everyone else who's just giving out tips and inevitably get forgotten in the inbox? I made this playlist detailing every single thing you gotta know.